Hi, this is Debbie with Book and Bujo, and welcome here. Today I'm going to go over my most and least favorite books of 2022. I don't really have worst books of 2022. I only had one 2-star, everything else was 3-star and above, so these are just not my favorites. We'll go with that. So coming in at number 10 with a 3-star, I enjoyed the book, but it definitely wasn't a favorite. I guess it didn't really speak to me. I can see how people love it, but that is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Acevedo. I enjoyed it, I liked it, but not one of my favorites. At number 9, I have a Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Hellmouth, issues 1 through 5. And that one came in at a 3-star as well. So it was good. It was fine. Nothing special about it. The artwork, I think, was getting better. There were some issues that were worse. But overall, it was alright. Number 8 is Desperate Measures with Katie Roberts. So the book was good. It was interesting. Came out as a 3-star. But it was a little too much for me. And I kind of knew that going in. I mean, there was a storyline there, but it doesn't have the character building and the relationships and the world building and all of that that I really like. All of that was there, but it was just kind of, it wasn't outstanding. And so it just was, it was good. It was alright. Probably wouldn't continue on in that series at all. Not bad. So number 7, May's Wild Walk, the first issue of the Whiskers Sisters. And this one was by, oh, I have the wrong, this was not by Jeff Wheeler. That's what I have written down. That's not it. Let's go back over to my other sheet and find out the actual author to that. Okay, so May's Wild Walk was written by Miss Patty, and that was super cute. It's a kid's book, and I enjoyed it. I thought it was cute, but again, there's not a whole lot there, so it's not like a high epic fantasy or anything. So again, 3 stars. I enjoyed it, and actually all the 3 stars from 5 to 10 on my list all got the exact same rating on Compile, so they all ended up with a 5.71. So that's kind of interesting. So the next is, I guess I could have just used this as one, but it's actually the 2nd and 3rd issues in the 4 Eyes Hearts of Fire series. I definitely liked the 1st and the 4th one better. They were all 3 stars for me. Actually, I think the 1st and the 4th were 3.5 stars. It was just a little too triggering for me, a little too much. So it's about a little boy who is teaching a dragon to fight in like a fighting ring, kind of like cockfighting and that kind of a thing, but with dragons. Just the storyline throughout that, it got a little too dark for me, I guess, in some areas, and that's by Joe Kelly. Overall, the series is interesting, but not a favorite. That was 5 and 6. Number 4 is A Kidnapped Santa Claus by L. Frank Baum, and that one, again, just a 3-star. There's nothing wrong with it. I thought it was good. It was cute. It was a short story. Again, I'm not a huge fan of short stories, so it just kind of landed in the middle. Just, Number 3 was The Celtic Twilight by W.B. Yeats, and that one just kind of scraped by with a 3-star. I don't even remember a whole lot about this. 128 pages. Yeah. Very forgettable. Don't remember much. So next we have number 2, and this one barely got a 3-star because just, So I enjoyed some other books by Kira Cass. Also wrote the Selection series, and I did read those. I read the whole series, and I thought it was good. I enjoyed it. They were all 3.5 star around there, maybe 4 stars for the first book. I thought they were interesting. They actually went somewhere. I felt like there was some substance to it. It wasn't amazing, best book series ever, but they were good, fun, kind of like that guilty pleasure kind of read that I enjoyed it in high school, and it still is okay now type of book. But her other book, The Betrothed, I'm not even going to finish the series. It started out good, and it just went all downhill from there. I feel like it lost the plot. It just was kind of like, let's just see where this goes. The characters were okay. There wasn't anyone I really cared about. So yeah, The Betrothed just fell flat for me. I still gave it 3 stars because it started out good, but just overall, eh. And then number 1 spot, and this is all on me. It's just my taste preferences, but it's Why Grizzly Bears Should Wear Underwear by Matthew Inman. So I read this one, or I put this one on my TBR for a prompt for a readathon. Hedges on the cover, and it had some bushes and hedges and things like that on there. And the first story, which was the Why Grizzly Bears Should Wear Underwear, was cute. I would have given that one just 3 stars on its own. But then it went way downhill after that. Just crude humor. I didn't realize, I thought it was just a short, somewhat kids book. No, it is definitely for adults. And it is a whole bunch of just little short stories and jokes and things like that throughout the whole thing. I pretty much kind of skimmed the rest of the book, read a few more, hoping that it would get better. And no, it didn't. Yeah, not quite a DNF, because I did skim and go through every page just to see if maybe I'd find something else. But yeah, no, it was not for me. I gave it 2 stars. Definitely would not go out of my way to find anything from this author again. I can only handle so much slapstick, and that's what this book felt like. Kind of that slapsticky, kind of crude humor. It's just not for me. So moving on, let's move on to something more positive. Standout series. I read so honorable mention because I read most of the series last year, but I did read the last couple of books that are already out this year, and that is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I love that series. I love it so much. It is a really good series, but it could not beat out Robin Hobb and the Realm of the Elderlings, which I did read a couple of the books last year, but I read the majority of them this year, and just, that series is so good. It is so good. Now, if you're a fast-paced, just give me some plot and move me through, this might not be the series for you. This is all about character building and world building, and we're just on the long, slow walk from beginning to end, and we're going to give you a lot of details, a lot of relationships, and a lot about the character, and it was great. I love it. Loved it. It was like, 14 books, I believe? 14, 15 books? Oh, so worth it. So worth it to read. If you have not read it, read it. I gave 1 book 3.5 stars, or 2 books 3.5 stars. A couple of them 4 stars, but the majority of the books in the series all got 5 stars. It's a 5-star series. So good. So good. Okay, some standout authors. So I have a couple of honorable mentions. So one of them is M.L. Wang, and the other one is Justin Call. The Sword of Kaigen and Master of Sorrows were both so good. Such good reads. I loved them. But my standout author for this year is Ryan Cahill, and his Bound and the Broken series is amazing. I've read 1 novel and 1 novella. I have 1 novella left to read, and I am 30% way through the 2nd book, so I will finish the series next year. He's got 1 more book coming out. His 3rd book comes out in January, February, and then his other book he is still working on, but such a good writer. And he has a Discord, and he interacts with all of his groupies, and it's a lot of fun. He's a great author. I can't wait to see what else he comes up with as he moves through his career. My top 10 books of 2022. It was hard to narrow down because I actually had a lot of 5-star reads. I had like 35-star reads this year, and I'm sure that's because of the Realm of the Elderlings. But so I did combine those in some of the series. I combined into one since they're all 5 stars. We'll start with 2 honorable mentions, which both got 5 stars, but on Compile they were just a little bit lower than some of the other ones, and that is Babel by R.F. Kuang, or Babel by R.F. Kuang and The Atlas Six by Olive Blake. Loved both of those books. I loved the dark academia of both of them, but they just were just that, it's a couple points shy of reaching the top 10. So number 10 is Slip by David Estes, and I love his books. So his Fate Mark series, I read those last year. There's 5 of them. Oh my gosh. High epic fantasy. So good. So good. Right up there with Lord of the Rings for me. So good. The magic system is interesting. The world building is amazing. He does a great job on character building as well. Just really good. But Slip is one of his sci-fi series, sci-fi dystopian series, and it was really fun. It was a great ride. Like it's not like it's this happy-go-lucky storyline or anything, but it was really interesting and I really enjoyed it. And then we have number 9, so one of the first books I read of 2022, and that was the Dragon Mage Academy, and it was the complete series. I believe there was seven books, and they were pretty much all 5-star reads for me. They were just so much fun. It's more of that. It's light academia, I would say. So it's all about going to the Dragon Mage Academy and learning how to be a dragon mage, and the story of this girl who pretends to be a boy and she's actually a princess, and just goes on from there. It was just fun. Yeah, it was a great start to the year. And then number 8 is Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain. If I can talk. Let's try this again. Kitchen Confidential by Anthony Bourdain. I have always wanted to read this book. I loved his series on Netflix, on the Food Network, and I loved his work. Even I was a vegan for 10 years, and that is actually when I watched most of his series, was when I was a vegan. And no, he didn't have the best thoughts towards vegans, but that's okay. I loved his snarkiness and just his compassion towards the people in the countries he was in. It was just amazing. He was such a great man. So it was a good book. I really enjoyed it. The humor throughout and just the fun getting the behind the scenes in the chef's world. Number 7, Lock and Key. So both volumes 3 and 6 got 5 stars for me, but the whole series was really good. I really enjoyed it. It's definitely a bit darker than the TV series, which I also love. So you kind of take them together, but also as separate entities. It was good. The last issue was really interesting. I had it was more like short stories of the Locke family throughout the years, throughout the generations, and so it was kind of fun. Number 6 is also a couple books in his series. So it's Of Cinder and Bone by Kyoko M. And I read the first 2 books so far, and I'm looking forward to reading the rest of the series in 2023. And that one's interesting. It's a sci-fi fantasy, so you have a couple of doctors trying to figure out how to bring back dragons. So they figure out how to basically get eggs from an animal and inject dinosaur DNA into it, and they create dinosaurs. Someone tries to steal their work, and then of course they try and capitalize on the dragons and the research and all of that. And of course then you have dragons flying around the United States and Tokyo and all over the place, and it's a fun ride. Written really well. The characters are fun. There's some side stories. The side characters, like the roommate is really fun, of one of the scientists, and kind of it was a great one. And then we have number 5, Master of Sorrows, the first book in the Silent God series by Justin Call. That was a good one too. Like, it's interesting. The magic system's a little bit different. It's got some great world building, the character building, and I can't wait to get into the next books to see where more of these characters go, like how they grow and how they move along their path. And then we have number 4, The Sword of Kaigen by M.L. Wong. I love this book. I don't think I could talk about this book enough. It is so good. I found out about the Kickstarter and it got get hardbacks for it, so I can't wait for mine to come in. But of course, I'm reading it in January, so it'll be before the hardback comes in. But that's all right. I can read my paperback. I first found this book through Amazon Borrows. I happened to borrow it, and I hadn't read it yet. It was just sitting on my Kindle. And then I watched a couple of different YouTube videos. Petrick is one of them that was talking about how great this book was. Like, wow, I should probably put this on my TBR. And I did, and I'm so glad I did. It was so good. Worth every page turn. And then we have at number 3 is a nonfiction book. I actually have a couple nonfictions, 3 nonfiction books on this list actually. And it's The Nature Fix by Florence Williams. This one really spoke to me. So this book is for all those people who, for some reason, they just go outside, go for a walk or a hike, and they're just like feel re-energized, and they're not sure why, but this book will tell you why. Just how, with actual scientific studies done to show how nature affects your brain and your body and your focus. It was really good. It was nice to see, or to be able to tell family members that, see, this is why when I go outside and just go for a hike, or when it's quiet, or those kind of things, how it recharges some people. Number 2 was Endurance by Alfred Lansing. This book was so good. Like, that whole story is amazing. I am just so amazed at how one person can keep it together and lead so many people to safety. I am definitely more of a just tell me what to do and I'll do it. Like, I'm going to get it done, and I'm going to get it done well. But I am not always the one that's good at coming up with the thing to do. And just to read about Shackleton and how he just led his people, and so the choices he made, whether they were the right choice or whether they weren't the right choice at that moment, he still had to make a decision, and he still led every single one of his people to safety. Not one of them, they did not lose one human life. It was just amazing. And then, of course, no surprise here, number 1 is Assassin's Fate, the final book in the Realm of the Elderling series. So pretty much just that whole series is a 5-star series for me, and I hope someday to own all of the books and have a Robin Hobb shelf. But for now, I will just be happy that I got to read them. Highly recommend anyone else to read them as well. So that was my most and least favorite books of 2022. What were yours? I'd love to hear down in the comments what your most favorite reads were, and ones you just thought were if you had a favorite series or a favorite author, if you had a favorite character that stood out in one of your books. Let me know down in the comments. And I hope you have a very safe and happy New Year's, and I will see you in 2023. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you want to hear more from me. And as always, I will see you in the comments. Bye.